Hello, and welcome to Understanding the Threat of NFT and Cryptocurrency Cyber Attacks and How to Defend Against Them. Today's awesome webinar is sponsored by KnowBe4 and produced by Actual Tech Media. My name is Jess Steinbach with Actual Tech Media, and I am absolutely thrilled to be your moderator for this discussion. Today we are joined by author, expert, and all-around fascinating human, Roger Grimes, data-driven security evangelist at KnowBe4. There is so much to cover here today, and honestly, I don't want to take a single minute away from the discussion, so I am just going to zip through a few of the important housekeeping points and get us on our way here today. All right, first, I want to draw your attention to the questions section of your webinar console. Now, the absolute best part of a webinar like this is the chance to ask questions directly of experts like Roger. And when it comes to NFTs and crypto, I know that you are all absolutely bursting with questions, so make sure to get those in. And if we are unable to get to your question during the live event, do not worry. The KnowBe4 team will be following up with you after. Quick reminder that the question console is also a great place to say hi and to reach out to the Actual Tech Media team. So if you have any technical issues during the session, knock on wood, of course, don't forget that a browser refresh should get rid of any of the usual tech gremlins, but if not, reach out to us on that question console. Now I want to skip ahead to the handout section. It's right next to that questions tab in your console. You're going to see some exciting content to go along with the webinar today, including a list of 22 social engineering red flags from KnowBe4. This is definitely worth downloading and reading through. Now, I did see one or two people mention in the chat that they weren't seeing the handouts. Please give your browser a refresh, and then you should see that pop up there. You'll also see a link to the Gorilla Guide Book Club, Actual Tech Media events calendar, honestly, just some awesome stuff. So make sure to explore that handout section. And hey, it's not just content that we're giving away today. We also have a $300 Amazon gift card as a prize drawing at the end of our webinar. Of course, you must be in live attendance during the event to qualify for the prize. And all winners must meet the Actual Tech Media prize terms and conditions. If you are not sure what those conditions are, you can find a full list of the T's and C's in your handouts tab. So just click into there and scroll down. Now, I know that this crew is not going to need any additional nudging to ask questions today, but hey, we like curiosity here. So today we will also be giving away a $50 Amazon gift card to the best question asked. Keep in mind that the team will review all of the questions asked after the event, which means that even if your question does not get read out in our live Q&A, there is still a chance to win. And as always, we will reach out to you via email after the event. Okay, whew. I did that very quickly because the truth is I am just beyond excited about our presenter today, and I cannot wait to jump into our session. Roger Grimes, data-driven security evangelist at KnowBe4, is here and ready to get rolling. So Roger, the platform is all yours.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for coming to my Understanding the Threat of NFT and Cryptocurrency Cyber Attacks and How to Defend Against Them. This is my talk where I just want to try to tell everybody what cryptocurrencies and NFTs are, describe all the attacks against them, or at least most of the attacks, and then how you can defend yourself and your organization against them. If you haven't met me before, I'm Roger Grimes, been doing computer security 34 years, written 13 books and over 1,200 magazine articles. So I've been doing this a long time. And if you don't know me, I talk real fast. I'm going to talk certainly super fast today because like 74 slides. Try to hopefully get and take a couple of questions at the end, but not really sure because we have 74 slides. Here's some of my books. The latest one is the Ransomware Protection Playbook. I work for KnowBe4. We're the world's largest integrated security awareness training and simulated phishing platform vendor. Because phishing and social engineering is the #1 threat of how most people get compromised by hackers and malware. And this also applies to NFTs and cryptocurrencies. So it's a good company trying to stop and fight that problem that ends up causing a lot of these successful attacks. But today, again, it's going to be kind of 2 parts to this, or 4 parts, however you look at it. I'm going to talk about the basics of cryptocurrency and NFTs because a lot of people don't understand what they are. And I'm really going to get down to the nuts and bolts of what they are, even beyond all the hype. and then talk attacks and defenses, of course, towards the second half of the talk. But I will tell you that I'm a pretty huge skeptic. If you were to put me on a scale from like 1 to 10, 0 being, hey, people believe in it, that NFTs and cryptocurrencies are a complete scam, and other people thinking best thing in the world, going to take over the world. And I have lots of friends, and very smart friends and coworkers and stuff like that just love it. I'm probably on a 2. From scale 1 to 10, I'm probably a 2. I'm a bit of a skeptic because there's so many attacks, so much fraud, and so many scams out there, which I'll talk about today. But I also realize that they're both probably going to be around in our life for a long, long time. So we'll start out with cryptocurrency basics. I think everybody that, if you don't even really know what they are, that it's a digital currency of some sort that can be used online, the new type of cash. Some people will say it's a new asset class that you can invest in. Certainly with cryptocurrency, something like 98% of the transactions in cryptocurrencies are purely about investment purposes. People aren't using it to buy a whole lot of stuff right now. It's mostly for investments and arbitrage and stuff like that. Some people see it, cryptocurrencies kind of replacing gold, like, it's a long-term storage of value, although the frequent price swings, really big 20% daily price swings, and some of it really doesn't give a lot of support to that. A lot of people, will tell me, cryptocurrency is going to take over the world. Real money will go away. Get on board. Especially all the people that currently hold a lot of cryptocurrency are always telling me that it's going to get rid of money. The people that hold the most of it are always ones telling me that the other stuff is going away. Then you have the other side, which I'm closer to, which is it's all a Ponzi scam, right? It's last full standing. If you get caught in it, you buy it, you could lose all your money. And it uses up all the world's electricity and stuff like that. Both of those are wrong, right? It's probably the eventuality of where they end up is probably going to be something far more in the middle of it. But I like to tell people digital currencies have been around for a long, long time. Like literally the EU Economic Council first wrote something to address digital currencies 22 years ago. So, I've been on the internet since the internet was invented, and we had, digital money back then. We even had ransomware that was being paid by these digital currencies, and e-checks, they called them, and e-money, I think, was a popular thing that I saw back then. So the idea of cryptocurrency being digital currency, online currency, that's not really new. What's different between what we call just regular digital currencies and cryptocurrencies is that word crypto. Bitcoin, which is the first cryptocurrency, was announced in 2008. The software was released in January, I think it was January of 2009. But Bitcoin, the first cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, kind of invented the whole thing of what cryptocurrency was. And it's because that cryptocurrency is digital currency that uses cryptographic algorithms to create, use, and protect the currency and the transactions. And I think, you could say that Visa, and even really today, most of the money you spend is electronic. If you're using, your bank card or credit card, it's all electronic, and it's all protected by crypto to keep the transaction secure. What's different with cryptocurrencies is that it's actually being created and verified using some type of cryptographic algorithms. It isn't just being used to protect it. It's being used to create it and validate it and give it value. At the same time, it also introduced the blockchain, a public blockchain, which is kind of like an accounting ledger that anybody can look at to see the various transactions and identities involved, although those identities are typically just really a bunch of numbers, a bunch of hexadecimal numbers and letters tied to an identity or to what's called a public-private key. So you normally don't really know who the identity is. You can actually see in the public blockchain, you can always see what identity did what transaction and how much money or value was involved, but most of the time you don't know, looking at some what's called wallet identity, a bunch of numbers and letters, who that really tracks to. Also, another big part of cryptocurrencies, and it's not true of all cryptocurrencies, is that it's distributed peer-to-peer. So it's not held in one big database. Like it's not at some Visa bank where all the transactions are. It's not all held at the Fed or something like that. The entire database can be distributed. Anybody can download, like you can download the entire blockchain of Bitcoins. It's quite huge, many, many gigabytes these days, or you can download just a part. But if you wanted to, anybody can download the blockchain of any cryptocurrency, or most of them, I guess, the public ones, and then see the transactions. So that's different, right? I couldn't download legally, at least, a Visa database or something like that, MasterCard database, and see who spent what. It also, because it's decentralized, means there's no centralized administration or control. Every member and every person gets a vote, although not oftentimes, most of the time, not equal votes. People that have more value in a cryptocurrency many times have more control than other people. Or the ability, even processing power. If you have a lot of computing processing power, you literally have more control. In most cryptocurrencies, 5, 7, 1% of the people in the currency own the vast majority of the currency. So that, the distributed control and stuff and ownership, they usually say, oh, anybody, can do it. It's normally controlled by a few individuals or a few percent of individuals. Most cryptocurrencies, the identities involved in the buying and selling and the transfer of these cryptocurrencies is somewhat anonymous or pseudo-anonymous, again, tied to a wallet identity, just a bunch of hexadecimal letters and numbers, which are derived from what's called the public key, the public-private key of that wallet. And people and organizations can have many different wallets. Sometimes the identities get known, but with a public blockchain, we can see every identity and every transaction involved on that particular blockchain. And many times these cryptocurrencies have to do lots of cryptographic algorithms and calculations to be able to do what's called proof of work to create value and things like that. The blockchain, very, very useful thing. This is just, one of the inventions that came out of Bitcoin being invented was this idea of a blockchain. And blockchains are used in many, many places that have nothing to do with cryptocurrency. But the idea is you have this accounting ledger that keeps track of the transactions, whatever the transactions are, and that the hash of the previous block is actually recorded in the next block, and then the hash of that is put into the next block. So a hash allows you to do integrity and verification of a particular block. And because it's locked into the next block, the integrity of the previous block is verified by the next block, which is verified by the next block, which is verified by the next block, which again can be downloaded by anyone. There isn't just one blockchain. Bitcoin, the main coin, has a blockchain. Every cryptocurrency and token typically every different cryptocurrency has its own blockchain. And again, there's tens and thousands, if not millions, of projects that have nothing to do with cryptocurrency that now use blockchain. So you can see lots and lots of blockchains out there. But if you do Bitcoin, if you're doing Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash, or you're doing Ethereum or whatever, typically there is going to be a common blockchain for that particular cryptocurrency. And like a token, if you create a token, which we'll talk about more in a minute, it can use an existing cryptocurrency and blockchain, or make its own. Mining, you'll hear about, is kind of important, which again was introduced with Bitcoin, is the idea that many different cryptocurrencies require this kind of proof of work. Or there's actually many different derivations of that, like proof of storage and proof of time, space-time, and things like that. But the idea is that most of these cryptocurrencies have this proof of something to be able to prove that you own and have a particular value in this cryptocurrency, or a particular number of coins, or it's used to validate, like in Bitcoin, the proof of work is used to validate particular transactions. And people can literally, many, many thousands of people on this planet Earth are doing these cryptographic solutions, trying to solve particular answers or problems in their particular cryptocurrency. And that validates the blockchain, gives the blockchain its value. For example, in Bitcoin, everybody that's involved in Bitcoin mining has their computers trying to calculate with a number that will validate a particular block. And it takes trillions and trillions of calculations, billions to trillions of calculations, for somebody to kind of get lucky and figure out that number, that nonce. And when someone, there's all these people competing, again, let's say blockchain is probably tens of thousands of people, if not hundreds of thousands of people, trying to guess the nonce of a particular transaction block. And the person that's lucky to find that number actually gets rewarded something. In Bitcoin's case, it's 6.25 Bitcoins, which times the current price, as I'm speaking today, around $39,000, $40,000 or whatever. That's all, 6.25 times $40,000 is a lot of money. What's interesting is blockchain is self-adjusting, or I'm sorry, Bitcoin is self-adjusting, and it takes about 10 minutes, no matter what number of computers, no matter how many calculations being done, to be able to solve one of these things. So it's, anybody can theoretically, solve that nonce for a particular transaction, but the people that have, large pools and miners, there literally are hundreds of these companies around the world that have thousands and thousands of computers trying to solve for that nonce. Because they have more computers than, let's say, you or I do, like if we were to turn our laptop or our desktop device into a Bitcoin miner, we're competing against companies and factories and stuff that have, thousands, if not tens of thousands of computers. Like there's one in New York, which, people were worried about climate change and stuff. And the one in New York said, listen, all we do is take up 1/500th of the electricity of New York at worst. And I thought of New York City with all the skyscrapers is using, New York City has a lot of electricity. And amazing that one crypto mining company is bragging, saying, hey, it's not that bad. We're only taking up 1/500th of New York's electricity at worst. That's not a selling point. That tells me they're using up a lot of electricity for their thousands of computers. There's things called cryptocurrency exchanges, and this is where anybody that belongs to that can buy, sell, or trade one or more cryptocurrencies. You typically have to transfer in cash, like from your bank account, and then you wait a couple days for it to be verified, or you're transferring in other cryptocurrencies. And then, cryptocurrency is always saying that, the fees can be so low. They're actually pretty high. Every time I've ever transferred in, bought, or sold cryptocurrencies, which I've done many, many times, the fees are really extraordinarily high compared to non-cryptocurrency transactions. And let me say, most of the people that start cryptocurrency exchanges, they're very, very rich people. They're among the richest people in cryptocurrency. And it's rife, unfortunately, with frauds and criminals and things like that. And some of these crypto exchanges, as we'll talk about more, they're just complete frauds and what's called rug pulls. Rug pull scams end up just taking everybody's money. So you have to be very, very careful. Although there are dozens of very popular, trusted exchanges. The two biggest are probably Binance is probably the biggest in the world, and Coinbase is probably the biggest in the US. Here's a screenshot of Coinbase, where again, you can, buy and sell and trade cryptocurrencies and what's called smart contracts, which we'll talk about more in a minute. And again, it can be a lot of fun for people that do that, and you can make some money if you know what you're doing. You can also lose your money. There's a lot of different cryptocurrencies right now. There's like 18,000 different cryptocurrencies. And when you're in a particular exchange, they may or may not support your particular cryptocurrency. Like a lot of them are dedicated to Bitcoin or Ethereum or something like that. And so most of them have these things called bridges or network bridges or blockchain bridges that allow people to buy, sell, and exchange different types of cryptocurrency for each other. Those have been around for a bunch of years. It actually has led to arbitrage, which is people that will buy particular cryptocurrencies when they appear to be up or down as compared to other cryptocurrencies, even in different countries. Like Bitcoin may cost me more or less in the US than it does in Japan. And you have a lot of these advanced, sophisticated investors that do arbitrage, where they're just buying and selling cryptocurrency based upon gaps in the value that they see in different cryptocurrencies in different countries and stuff. It has made a lot of very rich people, including the richest Bitcoin billionaire on the planet, some young kid that supposedly wants to take all the money, get as many billions as he can, and then give it away to the poor, which is a really good idea. But these bridges are often hacked. Everybody that's involved with a cryptocurrency typically has a wallet, a software wallet or a hardware wallet, like I'm kind of showing you there. right now. A lot of people say, well, if my wallet gets stolen, they've stolen my Bitcoins or whatever. It's not really so much that the wallets don't contain Bitcoin, or they don't contain the cryptocurrency. It would be like more like someone getting access to your bank account. Not a good thing. Wallets for each identity. Again, we can have multiple wallets if we want. Each wallet is tied to a asymmetric key, a public-private key pair. And if someone learns the private key, it's a very bad thing because they essentially kind of own your wallet. But it doesn't have cryptocurrency in it. But it means it's like if someone broke into your bank account, they would not necessarily have your money, but they could then buy and sell or trade your money in your bank account. So that's what's, it's very important that you keep malware and hackers away from your wallets, really away from that hardware, from that private key. And a lot of people will get what's called a hardware wallet, a cold wallet, where it's offline and they have to put in, some biometric identity or big long password and hook it to their computer, which hooks it to the internet to be able to use it. But again, any malware or thief getting access to the wallet's private key essentially owns that wallet. And even if they don't steal it from the user, they can then use that public-private key pair of that wallet to then conduct transactions, send it to themselves. And because all transactions are relatively anonymous, you don't know who took it, and you have a very, very unlikely that you're going to get the money back. Although sometimes people do get the money back, but usually not. Here's an example of a bunch of wallets that I got from, I think the website was called CoinStop. They sell a whole bunch of hardware wallets, and there's all types of ones, USB keys and credit card looking smart card ones and fingerprint scanners and that sort of stuff. You can have multiple wallets. Like I have a Bitcoin wallet on my computer, but I also do work at Coinbase, and I use their hosted wallet. So if you belong to an exchange that kind of hosts your money and your cryptocurrency, that's called a hosted or a custodial wallet. But you can also have your own wallet or wallets, and that's called self-custody wallets. I could even use my self-custody wallet with Coinbase if I wanted to, and I didn't want to use their wallet, their software wallets, hardware. Most people have software wallets. People that get a lot of money want to get hardware wallets. They can be online, offline, that sort of stuff. But as we're going to see, it doesn't really protect you. As a hardware wallet is not as protective as a lot of people think, even though, like multi-factor authentication, it's a good thing to do. You'll hear these things called smart contracts, especially around Ethereum. Ethereum was built with this idea of smart contracts. But the idea is that you can make a coding or a script or an algorithm that says, well, when this particular transaction happens, automatically do all these sort of things. Like, I think the best example I ever heard was they could put a house purchase, in America on the blockchain, on Ethereum blockchain, make it a smart contract. And when the buyer finally transfers their money, that everybody involved in that transaction gets paid. If you've ever been involved in a U.S. mortgage thing, there are a dozen people making money off of that transaction, and an Ethereum smart contract could make that all happen very quickly, and all the transactions, all the payments and everything, including the actual scripting itself, which usually can be seen as on the blockchain. So it's, it's being, people can view it. There's transparency. There is it's supposed to be efficient and, result in less transaction cost, and you need less people involved, which I think would mean with a lot of people that are currently involved in the mortgage industry, if it went to smart contracts, would probably lose their job. The reality is that these smart contracts are constantly full of programming bugs and security errors, and they're oftentimes how people have their NFTs and cryptocurrency stolen. So they're not as smart as they need to be. But if you don't know what a smart contract, again, it's just coding or scripting that is usually, and more than Ethereum supports smart contracts, there's a bunch of cryptocurrencies. But typically when people say smart contract, most of the time they're referring to Ethereum. And by the way, Ethereum is the blockchain, either is the currency that's used on the blockchain, but it has a programming language called Solidity. And all it is, again, is if this thing happens, do this. That's what the coding does. So on like the left-hand part of your screen, this is an example from Ethereum's smart contract programming help guide. It would be on the left-hand side there. Get a snack from a vending machine. Someone puts in money, and you select your snack, and you get your snack dispensed. Right? Is this idea that if I do this and this, then do this. on the right-hand side of the screen, there is an example of them creating that, that cookie or cupcake, in this case, a cupcake vending machine. But they're like, if somebody pays for the cupcakes, and then we'll, they choose the cupcake, and then we'll give them a cupcake and that sort of stuff. But just know, when someone says smart contract, it's just coding on the web, or the coding on a blockchain somewhere. And then that code is usually kind of self-managing, right? It's built to go, if this and this happens, and different transactions will reference the public address and identity on the blockchain, find that contract, and then be able to conduct that particular transaction. You may hear a term called DeFi, or decentralized finance. That is the idea. It's kind of, cryptocurrencies are kind of the first example of that, but now there's thousands of examples of DeFi. And it just is this idea that you can provide any of the banking and financial services that you and I see on a public blockchain using different apps. So, hey, I can loan you money on the blockchain. I can sell you a house on the blockchain, and that sort of stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of people, the people that are on the scale 1 to 10, that they're an 11, are like, oh my God, this changes everything, and banks are going away, and everything's going away, mortgage companies going away, but it's not true. But they're like, hey, we're gonna be able to duplicate everything in the web, make it fast and decentralized and everything. It's a good idea that supposedly each of us becomes the power and the holder of our own thing, and we don't rely upon Visa, MasterCard, or something like that to be the controller of it. But in reality, it doesn't work. It's very high transaction fees, far beyond what the traditional regular people would charge you. And it's the single biggest source of stolen cryptocurrency right now. So be really, really careful if you decide to, get involved in decentralized finance. There's a lot of cryptocurrencies. Like I said, there's over 18,000 coins, although some coins are tokens, and we'll talk about that more in a minute. And about $2 trillion of cryptocurrency out there. And that's because, like you and I, anybody can make up a cryptocurrency. Literally anybody can make it up. I can make up the Roger cryptocurrency or a Roger NTF. And, what it's worth is what the next people, declare that it's worth. It's like the people that made diamonds, right? Diamonds are just glass, but somehow De Beers and other people convinced people it was a very valuable thing, and now we're all paying a lot of money for diamonds. Same thing with cryptocurrencies. It all has to do with what the next person values it. And let me say, things like Bitcoin, because they are doing a lot of processing power, and it takes computers and miners to do it, there really is, people are trading up value in computers and computer resources and environmental air conditioning and electricity costs to mine it. So there really is this cost that they're putting into it. But there's a lot of benefits to cryptocurrency in there. I don't want to go over all of them. But probably the biggest ones are that, again, it's decentralized. Anybody can create one. Anybody can decide that they want to value it. It has a public blockchain in the back that anybody can verify transactions that are put on there. Theoretically, the transaction fees can be nominal. Usually they're very expensive these days. But also probably a big thing is that they allow privacy, so that if you want to do a private transaction, let me say people do drugs, sell drugs using cryptocurrencies and stuff, you can do that. But even if you're not, doing a criminal thing, you can still, if you don't want someone to know what you bought or sold, you can do that, because it can only be identified in the blockchain as a wallet identity. And they're not heavily regulated, which is both good or bad. I have a lot of downsides in here. The biggest one just being just frequently hacked, stolen, huge, pockets of fraud that we're going to talk about. Not supported by most vendors. Most vendors that take cryptocurrency, you take it and convert it to cash right away, so they don't really love it. And that's because cryptocurrency has these huge value swings, and and a lot of times the way that companies have to account for cryptocurrency, it's called mark to market, meaning they have to, every time the cryptocurrency value goes down, they have to update their balance sheet to say they have less value in it, and they can never mark it up, at least until it's sold. So it's really kind of negative for most companies to have. And they can't say, oh, I sold a car for $10,000, and now I only sold a car. The car is really only worth $7,000 today. So most vendors that take cryptocurrencies immediately convert it to cash. There's lots of other things. Again, there's, lots of legality on it. It's often tied to hype. People, it's really big that someone will start the new cryptocurrency and say it's the best thing since sliced bread. Everybody that gets in early buys, and they're so excited. Everybody thinks that every cryptocurrency is going to be Bitcoin and Ethereum and go up, and Dogecoin and go up in value. It doesn't go like that for most cryptocurrencies. So there's lots of disadvantages. And let me say, overall, the biggest problem is that it's a very immature industry. with too many people participating, and these scammers, the real elite financiers are taking advantage of it. Very hard to make money, let's say, doing arbitrage in real currencies or stocks today, but it's really easy to do in cryptocurrencies. So a lot of people are taking what they learned in the regular markets, taking it to the cryptocurrency markets and making a bunch of money. And it only keeps working as you make other people think that it's valuable. And lots of hackers and criminals and scammers in there. NFTs is something a little bit newer. The first one was 2019, but NFT stands for non-fungible token. Non-fungible means it's unique and not a commodity. So in this case, maybe every avatar is completely unique and different than another. The token, it just means that it's a representation of something else. When you buy an NFT, you're buying really a link to the thing that they said that you're buying. So it's a token. That's a token of something else. Could be cryptocurrency. NFTs have really exploded. Probably the most valuable stuff is these avatars and icons and things like that. NFTs can link. Now, NFTs can be almost anything. And on the screen there, I've got what's called the Bored Apes, which is one of the biggest ones that exploded, and the Cyberpunks, which also exploded. NFTs can link to anything. I've heard of houses being sold by NFTs, vacation packages, anything you can think of can be an NFT. But and this is a small chart that talks about it. It can be trading and collectibles and arts and gaming and content and media. Anything can be made in NFT. If I decided that I wanted to make my wedding pictures be an NFT, I could do that. Let me see, everybody is getting into it. But if I can leave you with one really important point about what an NFT really is, all an NFT really is a URL link that's linked to content on some website that's put on a blockchain along with your identity and potentially value and things like that. NFT isn't even the thing. It's not the, in this case, let's say, or the really common case, an avatar. The NFT in reality, when you look at what happened, it's not, they don't put your avatar that you bought on the blockchain. There's not enough room in the blockchain for putting the content it refers to on it. All it is the URL that points to a particular website, web page, or something that has your object, which is kind of weird from a cryptographic perspective because, the object in that location can easily be changed. Websites go bad and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, what you bought as identified on the blockchain isn't what you bought. So it's really strange. And what's funny is they could have taken a hash of the thing you're actually buying and put that on the blockchain, but most of them don't. So all an NFT is a URL that points to something else, and that's what's stored on the blockchain along with the identities that bought and sold it and the value and that sort of stuff. Usually when you're talking NFTs, they are attached to Ethereum, but like Bored Apes and some other things, they can be their own tokens, their own blockchain, their own kind of cryptocurrency in a way. But typically an NFT is attached to Ethereum and it's a smart contract, that sort of thing. And they're usually tied to particular NFT exchanges and marketplaces. And so you can only buy, let's say, Bored Apes in one place, or Cyberpunks, or the Crypto Kitties or something like that. Here's an example of Crypto Kitty avatar icons that you could buy. So far, the most valuable collections of NFTs have been these avatars and icons and that sort of stuff. Even though that wasn't even the first one that ever came around, you'll hear the term called mint or minting, and that means you're creating an NFT. And behind the scenes, all that is taking that URL that links to content that is somewhere else and tying it to a particular smart contract on a blockchain. So when you mint something, again, you're just saying, here is this thing that I'm selling or things that I'm selling by URL, and I'm linking it to a particular contract, smart contract, usually stored in Ethereum. There's some formatting. There's a couple of different formatting standards for this that you can follow. Although ERC, Ethereum Request for Comments 20, is actually for fungible tokens, which means they're not so unique. A bunch of different marketplaces. OpenSea is the biggest marketplace by far, and you can see like CryptoPunks and Rareable and Super Rare and stuff like that. Those are actually collections of NFTs, which are also their own marketplaces, and they have their own, blockchains and have their own, places you go to buy and sell them and that sort of stuff. Although with bridges, you can end up buying and selling different things at different places. But OpenSea is by far right now, as you can see in that chart above, the biggest exchange out there. The first NFT again was in May 2014, so relatively recent. They can be worth millions of dollars. I think the highest paid for a single NFT was like 65 million or something like that. But the records seem to break all the time, but most of them are not worth a whole lot, less than $200. What they're worth is what the next person wants to pay for it. So hype is what, anytime NFTs are offered, it's a big hype. There's usually a pre-sale, and they'll have even a real picture of the NFT, like will be in an art stand or something, like, oh, do I own that picture? You don't. An NFT is not a real thing. But there's usually a kickoff party and media, and they're trying to say it's exclusive and cool, and they'll hype it, and that's why you want to get it. The original Bored Apes and the CryptoPunks sold for a few dollars each, just to cover the Ethereum transaction fees. Most of them, they were sold for a few bucks, given away or kept. Most people that make an NFT keep like a large percentage of them, so if they go up in value, they get rich. But now, like CryptoPunks and Bored Apes and things like that. I was like, man, who the heck is going to buy those? I was wrong. Maybe I should have bought some, because now they're worth billions of dollars a piece. And you have, Jay-Z, Snoop Dogg, and, Bieber and all that stuff paying literally millions of dollars to get just a few avatars. And it becomes like, linked to them and their branding. Everybody's in on it. Forbes magazine sent me an email going, hey, own your own virtual NFT billionaire. And they're hyping and getting lots of emails from it. Quentin Tarantino has his own NTFs he's trying to sell based upon his previous movies. He's currently being sued. That's how real NFTs are. He's being sued by the movie companies that own all the rights to his movie, saying you can't sell NFTs to the movie. Reese Witherspoon's getting in, excited, inviting other young women to get in on it. Tom Brady has an NFT company and a cryptocurrency company, and you can even buy an NFT on vending machines, which I don't know how that really works out. But in New York and other places, there are vending machines that sell NFTs. God bless capitalism, where you can buy this NFT, whatever that means, from a vending machine, because it's a digital online asset. And there's, good and bad case to be made for NFTs. Very popular. People love them. They're a good way to advertise and promote something. They can be an investment vehicle. Most people that are buying them as investments or for branding for themselves. And it can even be a good tax. Unlike cryptocurrencies, which are typically not a good or not treated well tax-wise, NFTs can be. If you donate them, you can buy an NFT for cheap, let it appreciate to like $1 billion, give it away to charity, and you get to take that 50% of that $1 billion off on your taxes. But the problem is you got to figure out what is it going to be worth. NFT can change value based upon what the next buyer thinks it is. Here's an example of a guy that paid $2.9 million for an NFT of Jack Dorsey, the owner creator of Twitter. Paid $2.9 million a year ago for Jack Dorsey's first tweet. He then offered it for sale this year after he got out of jail, mind you, for $48 million. His best offer he got was $280, although I heard someone offered him like $2,000 or $3,000 after the sale was closed. But anyways, obviously he's not getting, he's right now regretting. I wonder if he's selling that tweet for the couple $1,000 or he's going to keep it, hoping it goes somewhere else. Biggest disadvantage of NFTs in my case is that all an NFT is a link pointing to content on a blockchain, but that object where that link points can go bad, can be moved. And indeed, that has happened many times. They got a word for it, link rot. That's like saying that you only own your car if it's in your driveway. And then let's say I know people that have made NFTs and gotten some money, and then the marketplace like this violated our terms and conditions and they removed it. Well, like Facebook or Twitter might block you, but all of a sudden your cryptocurrency and your NFT is gone wherever you minted it. And NFTs have every problem that cryptocurrencies have, plus more. The fees are high. Most people that make NFTs don't make any money. As a matter of fact, at least 1/3 to most people that create NFTs and sell them actually end up having to pay to sell them. And then, I love this here that a NFT marketplace admits that 80% of the NFTs are spam, scams, or fraud. That's pretty big. And you go, well, is this one of those scammy NFT marketplaces? Nope. OpenSea, the largest. And let me say, it isn't just OpenSea. Most of the marketplaces are full of scams and people that are NFT and things that they don't have copyrights for, and or just outright scamming you. So it's a big deal right now in the NFT world. So people ask, well, what does that mean about NFTs and cryptocurrency? So full of scams. Does that mean they're going to go away? Is it, or are they going to take over the world? It's probably going to be something in between. They're probably going to have more maturity, more regulation. All the politicians are always trying to regulate it more protections. You'll probably end up with less crime and scams than we have today, which is pretty significant. More reasonable valuations and more value stability. That's where I think it's going. I think right now there's just a lot of hype and a lot of crime, but we're probably going to be both of those things. NFTs and cryptocurrencies is going to be around with us forever. Lots of attacks, lots of scams. Most cryptocurrency NFT theft involves social engineering scams, even more so. And in general, 70 to 90% of all hackers and malware compromises involve social engineering. It's much higher in the cryptocurrency and NFT world. It's almost 100%. It's not 100%, but it's very large. Most of the time, it's stuff being stolen from people, typically cryptocurrencies, but also can be NFTs. We'll see that. And it can be from individuals that have their wallets stolen or compromised, or they're scammed, or it can be even exchanges and bridges where they steal billions of dollars in one heist. A lot of rug pull scams where people are told, get in. Like I had a friend that was like, buy into this, cryptocurrency mining operation, and he put in $10,000. And you could go to the website and they would take your money, and they were like, we're unregulated. We don't have any regulation. We make lots of Bitcoin. It was all a scam, and he lost all of his money. He's like, what do you think I should do? I was like, you should get out, get your money, ask for your money. You're probably not going to be able to get your money back. And he wasn't, and he lost ultimately he ended up losing tens of thousands of dollars. And he even recommended that his daughter get involved, and she lost $10,000. So, but there's also buggy contracts and things like that, and bridge attacks and stolen resources. If you look at the total value of what we know that was stolen last year is $14 billion, which was double that it was the year before. Most of it was from scams, but a large part of it was also from stolen funds. Again, doubled from 2020. Scams were the biggest problem. These rug pulls, being a big deal, but also being directly stolen from people and exchanges. Right now, cryptocurrencies and NFTs being stolen is the record for 2022. So this is just a couple months into 2022 when I'm recording this. It's already surpassed the whole year of 2021. So it's still a really big problem, especially if your wallet's online. So most people that get a cryptocurrency wallet have that wallet online on their computers. And there's literally hundreds and hundreds of malware programs that if they get into your computer, usually because of social engineering or unpatched software, will look for your computer to see if you have any wallets, and if so, they will steal that public-private key, which essentially steals your wallet, and then they transfer all your money. And let me say, there's nothing you can do. You don't know. Most of the time, there's nothing you can do because we don't know who these people are. The laws are not even, really well done. Most people that have their cryptocurrency stolen or scammed from them do not get it back. Every once in a while, you have a really nice exchange. It's like, oh, we're going to give our members their money back. That is very rare and usually doesn't happen. Most of the time, you're going to lose your money, and you're lucky if you get your money back. There's a whole class of malware out called crypto clippers, which is kind of scary. So this is malware that gets on your system, and it waits and monitors your activities and waits till you go to do a cryptocurrency transaction. So they monitor your wallet or the exchanges, the popular exchanges, and then you in order to transfer or do a transaction in cryptocurrency, you have to put in the wallet identity that I told you was tied to the public key of the wallet. And what the crypto clipper will do, most of these wallet numbers are really long and complex. And what the crypto clipper will do most of the time is on your clipboard service in Windows or whatever, they'll actually change the number on the fly to be their wallet. So you got this big long string of numbers, and you think like, oh, I want to be careful, so I want to copy it instead of type it in or whatever. And what they do is they change it on the fly. That's a big thing where they just change it on the fly. If you don't recognize the bait and switch, it's gone. There's a lot of fake NFTs, really, just common, where you think, oh, I'm buying this really cool NFT. Hackers will create these fake pages with an NFT in description. And when you enter it and you're like, oh, I want that NFT. Remember, an NFT is really usually an Ethereum contract on the blockchain. And what you don't know is that unless you read the code and see what you're getting into, you may not. Most people don't know. Like, oh, I want that NFT. That's so cute. That kitten is so cute. But you don't realize that the smart contract is completely fraudulent, and all it does is steal your money. So you think you're spending $100, $200 for a cute little kitty, but they really drain your entire wallet. So unless you know how to read, smart contract details and things like that, look out. And it's really, really common that people buy, they'll offer up, buy a Bored Ape for $2,000. Oh man. And that, the person offering that does not have the rights to Bored Ape. It isn't the real Bored Ape, and then people just get scammed all the time. A lot of people are like, well, I'm going to protect my wallet with multi-factor authentication. Well, besides me writing a book called Hacking Multi-Factor Authentication, just know that MFA is far from completely protecting you, and the world is rife with tens of thousands of people that had large amounts of cryptocurrency stolen from them from accounts that they thought were really protected by MFA, even on Coinbase, which is a really good marketplace exchange or exchange site. There's all kinds of different ways, even if you're using multi-factor authentication, that attackers can compromise you. And many people that had many millions of dollars, their life savings just robbed, and there literally many times is nothing they can do about it. Some people are like, well, I'm going to get an offline hardware wallet. I'm going to make it really, really secure. But there are things like these, they'll get phishing emails that claim to be from the vendor that, oh, you need to do this firmware upgrade. And really what it is malware. And when they run that malware changes and steals their money when they hook their hardware wallet to it. Probably the wildest, most targeted spear phishing attack was Ledger is a company that makes a lot of different cryptocurrency hardware wallets that are really good, but they actually got breached, and the attacker took their customer list and then sent a lot of the customers fake letters, which is pretty wild. If you look at this letter here, it's one of the most sophisticated things I've ever seen. So the attacker sent 2 existing customers of Ledger a fake letter from Ledger on Ledger letterhead, and the box looked like it's from Ledger, and it said, hey, this is from the Ledger CEO. As you know, we were targeted by a cybersecurity attack, blah, 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 blah. For that reason, for security purposes, we're sending you a new device. And the people that plugged in and used that new device had their cryptocurrency stuff stolen. And I understand this letter had a few typos in it, that sort of stuff, but really just amazing. I don't know whether I wouldn't have fallen for that scam. I think I might have gone, that's right. I got to hurry up. That's right. They got hacked, and I want to make sure I don't get hacked and lose my money and go ahead and do this new device, not knowing that it was all completely fraudulent. I mean, that's really just a very targeted spear phishing scam that I don't know that I would have been good in. Also known, if somebody gets your offline wallet, that there are hundreds, if not thousands, of people that know how to break into crypto wallets and stuff like that. If you want to see a really good video, I think it's like an hour or 2 long, but it really is worth watching, or at least skimming through on YouTube, of this guy that hacked a hardware crypto wallet and recovered $2 million in a day. But it's really, if you want to see how they do it and what's the process they go through, it's a fantastic, fantastic video. As a matter of fact, CoinStop, which is this company that sells hardware, like they sell dozens and dozens of different types of offline crypto wallets, they literally have an article entitled "The 7 Ways That Your Crypto Hardware Wallet May Be Hacked," right? So they know it can be hacked. So just know that you should have an offline crypto wallet if you're going to be in cryptocurrency with a lot of value. Just know you can be social engineered and hacked many different ways, so watch out. Sometimes the people that have the collections, like the Bored Ape Yacht Club collections, was stolen. Somebody hacked into the Bored Ape. Bored Ape is owned by a group. It's really called Bored Apes Yacht Club. I don't think it has anything to do with the Yacht Club, but their Instagram and Discord accounts were hacked into. Somebody then posted a fraudulent link about minting some other Bored Apes. This allowed the attacker to take 91 NFTs worth about $3 million. And again, once done, it's usually gone. There's even this new term called ice phishing, which is the attackers will sometimes send social engineering emails going, hey, we're doing an upgrade to the contracts. We found a bug in the existing contracts, and to protect you, we're going to need to change you from contract A to contract B. you need to delegate the authority of us as, whatever they're pretending to be, Coinbase or Binance or whatever, to change, or whatever the marketplace is called, to change you from contract A to contract B to protect your interests. And if you do, and those are bad guys, let me say this is kind of a common thing in the cryptocurrency and NFT world, where you do this delegation so things can be fixed and done. But when they do it, they get all of their money stolen. And as a matter of fact, this was the one that happened to OpenSea in 2022, beginning of this year, is that OpenSea had really planned to do a contract update. They had sent a notice to people going, hey, we're going to update the contracts to protect you. And the attackers read this and knew this, and then sent social engineering emails going, hey, here's the upgrade. You need to delegate us authority. And then they stole $1.7 million worth of Ethereum, and including 3 tokens from Bored Ape, Yacht Club, 2 Cool Cats, and so on. You can read that. But that's a tough one, right? If you don't really recognize where that email is coming from, you could become a social engineering victim. Again, a lot of rug pull scams out there. This is just where the whole project seems legit. Everybody's in. I've had friends lose tens of thousands of dollars. It happens all the time. There's even celebrities many times involved in these. Sometimes these celebrities go to jail, but usually the warning signs are they promise you these great, consistent, oversized returns. No investment vehicle in the world can really promise you that. They never let you take your money out, and they're usually bragging about they have no regulations. Probably the largest one in history so far has been this whole exchange in Turkey. So Turkey was having a phenomenal amount of inflation and social strife, and so people started not trusting the Turkish money or even the American dollar. So they went to cryptocurrency, and they got they took $2 billion worth of people's money. It was all a scam. Before they shut down, this exchange even offered all new members 1 million new cryptocurrency coins, Dogecoins, to join. And the 27-year-old CEO fled to Albania. I don't know if he's been caught, but look at 62 people arrested, warrants to 16 others. So you've got going on to 100 people that literally knew they were cheating and scamming people and taking money from them just to steal their money. So watch out. You can't trust stuff out there. There's a lot of crypto apps and crypto mining apps on the internet, including on the Android store and stuff, where they'll say, oh, your cell phone can do crypto mining, which it can. But they'll tell you, oh, buy the upgraded one and it does crypto mining better, or you're buying funds for us to do the crypto mine, and they charge you a lot of money, and it's just fake. They're just faking the screen. They're taking the money. It's cryptocurrency. You don't get it back. The crypto bridges have been attacked. Those are those things that allow people in exchanges and marketplaces to accept all kinds of different cryptocurrency. It's been hacked, over $1 billion stolen in just over a year from them. So watch out that. Some of my friends will ask me, because I'm really into quantum computing and quantum cryptography attacks. They're like, oh, does my cryptocurrency, can it be attacked by quantum computers? Well, one day, soon we will have sufficiently capable quantum computers that can break in today's asymmetric crypto. Blockchains are not protected by asymmetric crypto. So blockchains themselves are usually quantum resistant, but the wallets that everybody uses to buy or sell and trade currency are based upon quantum susceptible algorithms, and you need to make sure that when that you have a new upgraded quantum resistant algorithm on your wallet before quantum computers start breaking into stuff. And right now there's not a lot of them out there that are quantum resistant. So there is a problem out there. Getting to the defenses with the last 5 or 10 minutes left, just recognize when you're doing cryptocurrency or NFTs, you're a huge target. You're putting a huge target on your back. Never risk more than you're willing to lose. I can't tell you how many of my friends have lost everything in there in these scams and hacks and stuff like that. So just be careful. Very immature place full of criminals, even good people that are just trying to, or I say not good people, there are plenty of elite traders and stuff just looking to steal your money, take your money. Be careful, be careful. If you're going to get in there, make sure you only go with reputable exchanges and marketplaces, only buy reputable cryptocurrencies and NFTs, and use offline wallets. Try to make sure you don't get socially engineered into losing your stuff. This is a list of how all attackers break into, all hackers and malware break into anything. But it's really the first 3 that are really the biggest ways in cryptocurrency. Social engineering is by far the biggest way that people lose their NFTs and cryptocurrencies, and just in general get scammed. Buy this NFT or this cryptocurrency. They're going to go up, up, up. They're hyped all the time. You just don't know, and you don't know when it will go away. So just be careful with that. Social engineering is just huge, huge, huge in that world. So make sure for yourself and your organization that you mitigate social engineering the best you can, which means using the best combination, defense and depth combination of policies, technical defenses, and education so you don't get scammed. Patch your software. Make sure that you're only using the really true good updates. Don't get scammed and falling for a socially engineered firmware update or something like that. Make sure you use multi-factor authentication where you can. We like to say use non-phishable MFA. And if you don't know what that means, I got a link to my LinkedIn article about that, of what I trust. Most MFA, 90-95% of it is phishable, which means it doesn't really protect you. And thousands of cryptocurrency and NFT owners have lost everything because they did not use phishing-resistant MFA. So use phishing-resistant MFA. Also teach yourself and your friends and your family and coworkers how to spot rogue URLs so that they don't click on those bad links. If you're not sure what those links are there, you can just go ahead and read these two or go to these two links. The first one is an article where I talk about the 12 most common tricks that they will use to do rogue URLs. And then the second one is a 1-hour webinar. So if you want to be bored with me teaching you about good and bad URLs, that's the webinar to watch. And I cover about 50 different examples of good and bad URLs. And then, of course, everything you can do to prevent being phished. Remember, NFTs and cryptocurrencies are mostly stolen because of social engineering. So anything you can do to stop being social engineered, you should do. I have a 1-hour webinar. If you want to watch that it's like 99 slides on everything I can think of to stop you from being socially engineered. Or if you want to read my 49-page ebook, Pick Your Poison, you can read that as well. You always want to train yourself, again, your family, your friends, and your coworkers, not to be socially engineered. No matter how good your defenses are and your policies are, there will be some amount of social engineering that eventually gets to you, especially if you do cryptocurrency trading or NFTs. So teach yourself and other people how to spot bad things, how to spot scamming attacks, and then how to respond. This is what I like to tell people, that most scams have these. That the message arrives unexpectedly, like, hey, you've got to do this. You need to change bank wiring instructions. You need to go buy gift cards. Do you know that your NFT account was hacked or something like that? If the message arrives unexpectedly, that's kind of a high risk. Number two is the first time the sender, no matter who they are, is asking you to perform something for the first time. Hey, you need to move your we're updating our smart contracts. You need to delegate authority to move from A to B. If that's not something you've ever been asked to do before by that vendor, slow down. Does the request include a you need to do it now stressor event? If you don't do this, your cryptocurrency can be stolen. If you don't do this, it's going to decrease the value. If you don't, if they're trying to encourage you to immediately to do something, it's usually a sign of a scam, especially if performing that request could harm your interests. If it's malicious, could harm you or the organization you're with. Anytime I see a message, I don't care how I've received a phone call, SMS message, email, or whatever, if it has one of these 4 traits in there, I just don't do it automatically. So just, confirm it using another method. Email your marketplace and go, hey, I just got this email from y'all. Is this right? Or, phone them or however you might be. But anytime you have a message that has these 4 traits, slow down, verify using a known other legitimate method before you do it. If you're interested, we do have this great PDF called the 22 red flags of social engineering, just things you should look out, anybody should look out, and an email that may indicate that it's a socially engineering email. And you can, it's really good poster. You can print it up and send it to other people. We love when people download and use this. And I have the same thing about the red flags of rogue URLs. This is the 12 most common tricks that attackers use to try to trick people into clicking on things that they shouldn't. You can go download that PDF and send it to anybody that you like. Good personal defenses. Don't get involved at all with cryptocurrency and NFTs right now if you're really, really worried. You got to be careful about that. Only risk what you can afford to lose, because people do lose their money. And I can tell you, you feel like, oh my God, it went up. I'm rich. And the next day, you're poor. So just be used to that if you decide to get involved. Only do business with very reputable exchanges and projects, especially if they indicate there's protections where you might get your money back if it's stolen. Some of them do have small types of protection, or they have tools that help you research if the buyer or the seller is a reputable person or not. A lot of times they know that this particular wallet address has been linked to poor reviews or stolen cryptocurrency in the past. Be careful anytime you're working with a marketplace or exchange. It's amazing how many former felons are now CEOs of cryptocurrency exchanges and marketplaces. I don't think that's accidental. There's just a lot of people that are wolves trying to take advantage of the sheep, so do your research. And use exchanges and marketplaces which care about regulations. The really pure cryptocurrency people hate regulation, and they don't want any regulation. They're going to fight anybody that does regulation. But the ones that care about it and do care about some regulations are more likely to protect your money. Also, two other things. I think it's good if you try to have some anti-malware endpoint detection response software in your system just in case, so it might detect a crypto miner or a Trojan or a crypto clipper or something like that. It can't hurt to have that. Also, if you have a computer system that's suddenly doing a whole lot of high CPUs, like out of the blue, CPU is super, super high, it can't hurt to check it to see if it's involved, it has a crypto mining Trojan or something like that. Also, if you write smart contracts, really any coding, but smart contracts in particular for today's talk, make sure you get trained in the security development lifecycle. We've got a link to Microsoft that will give you access to hundreds of resources about how you can be a more secure developer. But then Ethereum in itself actually has lots of good guides on how to make secure contracts. Just on their website, they'll tell you about what some of the common problems are and how you can have a more likely to have a secure smart contract. It's really hard to have bug-free code, but if you follow their advice, at least you'll get rid of the common stuff that might hit some people. And just know there's even code reviewers you can pay that are trained in reviewing smart contracts for security issues, specifically about for smart contracts. And of course, at KnowBe4, we're big believers in that you should train yourself and your employees in avoiding particular security things and do simulated phishing to see how well they took that education. We know that our customers that employ what I just told you, which is to do usually monthly training and at least monthly simulated phishing attacks to see how well people took the training. We do know the average company that comes to us before they're doing the training and simulated phishing, over 30% of their employees can be tricked into clicking on a phish-prone link. But after they get training and simulated phishing, it falls below 5%. And in particular, because the cryptocurrency and NFTs are so involved with phishing attacks, if you can teach yourself and other people and loved ones that might get involved about the different types of social engineering attacks against NFT and cryptocurrency people in specific, that can help protect you so you don't lose your cryptocurrencies or NFTs. Okay, it looks like we do have some time for a couple of questions. Let me take a look. The first one. Why can't illegal transactions be reversed like in the regular banking system? That's a great question. And probably ultimately it's because on the blockchain, there's no bit that says this transaction was illegal, right? And you need to reverse it. On the blockchain, it literally says this is the transaction and these are the parties involved, and it's on there forever. And it's really tough when someone is taking, your cryptocurrency or NFT, for you to know, to identify solely based upon the blockchain that it was done illegally. I mean, there's external parties and people can trace the money, and somebody might say, hey, this particular wallet's bad. But it's very difficult because of the, kind of the pervasive anonymity. You can tie it to a wallet, but you can't necessarily all the time tie it to an identity. And certainly a lot of these criminals are in other countries where warrants and things like that don't apply. So literally, just every protection you might have in the normal banking system doesn't apply. That's why it's hard to, be reversed. You're certainly, in the American banking system, every single bank will reverse any fraudulent transactions that anybody makes. I mean, it's required by law. Well, it isn't required in the crypto and NFT communities because it's just really difficult to do, even if they did. Here's another question. Do antivirus software detect and remove malware miners and clippers? Yes, I think with probably the same rate of accuracy as any other malware, which means they don't get a lot of them. They miss a lot. The malware miners and clippers are constantly updating themselves. So they will eventually protect them. But of the few that I've looked at and submitted against Google's virustotal.com, none were detected by current antiviruses. But I assume that once the clipper or miner has been out for a few weeks, that you'll have a lot more detection success. Another question, do you think the US and other countries will have their own official national cryptocurrencies? There's already a couple of countries like Ecuador, I think it's Ecuador, that already do use cryptocurrencies, either Bitcoin, or they've established their own national cryptocurrencies. I think China's done that. I think there's a good chance the US will do that. So I think there's a good chance that we'll see multiple countries adopt it if crypto lives long enough to get stronger adoption and regulation. That I think you'll see different countries kind of have their own national crypto standard, but it'd be highly regulated. So it'd be interesting to see how well it survives against regular, DeFi cryptocurrencies and things like that. But I think there will certainly be an increase in the number of countries that will make their own national crypto or use Bitcoin or Ethereum or something like that. And we only got time for one more question. Roger, why are you so skeptical of cryptocurrencies and NFTs? I think that's because behind the scenes, I know how they really work at a technical cryptography level, and it bothers me about all the holes they have. It bothers me that it seems like, so much of it is full of scams and con artists and criminals and things. The real world and real currency is as well. But it's just that cryptocurrencies and NFTs are in a very immature space where both the criminals and even the legal elite banker types are taking advantage of people. And, every commercial I see just telling people, get in, be brave. They're taking people's money mostly. And so that makes me ever more skeptical. If it was really a good long-term investment, you wouldn't have to beg people to join with, by having actors and things like that. Well, anyways, it could turn out to be something really good in the long term. There could be some good benefits coming out there. But right now, based upon how it currently is and the number of scammers and criminals in there, I'm remaining mostly skeptical. Well, that's it. If you have any more questions, feel free to send them to me at rogerg@knowbefore.com, and I promise to answer your questions within a day. Take care, everyone.
Wow. Thank you, Roger, for that wonderful presentation and for sticking around to answer some audience questions. I wish so much that we could keep going, but we are completely out of time now. So we will have to wrap it up there. Hopefully we can pick this up for another convo again soon. We had some great questions, so I know you guys are interested. In the meantime, I'm very curious to see if some of you are feeling more skeptical, less skeptical, or at least hopefully maybe better informed. So until next time, I know what you guys are all waiting for, so let's get to it. Today's winner of a $300 Amazon gift card is Will Wong. Will Wong of Hawaii. Will Wong of Hawaii. So not only do you get to live in Hawaii, Will, now you have $300 to spend at Amazon. All right, so congratulations to Will. As always, we will be in touch about claiming your prize after the event. And with that, on behalf of the Actual Tech Media team, I want to thank KnowBe4 for making this event possible. And it's just a giant thank you to Roger for an absolutely fascinating conversation today. I think my brain is still reeling. As I said, if you want to see this again, you are going to get videos after the fact. We'll email you the on-demand link. And I know I will be watching and rewatching after as well. And sending high fives and a special thank you to all of you who attended today and asked some just absolutely amazing questions. These events are so wonderful to be a part of because of exactly that. They give us an opportunity to connect and explore those ideas a little bit further. Keep in mind that the KnowBe4 team will be following up if we didn't get to your question today. I know that I've learned a ton. I hope you did too. I cannot wait to see you all again soon. And until then, have an absolutely beautiful rest of your day.